Hello everybody, this is Christopher with the Yacht Experts. One of the great things about the boat business is you get to meet really interesting people doing really interesting things. And one of those interesting people doing interesting things is Sam Dallaire.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm here with today, and Sam builds premium, custom, from scratch, premium knives in the mountains of British Columbia. I'm really curious, how do you become a custom knife craftsman in the mountains of British Columbia?
So that is a very long story that I can shorten you a bit. I used to be a big finance guy. I was working in investment banking in Toronto, and I used to live in a building right next to the bank, and they would connect through underground tunnels. So I was working 7 days a week, and you know, after 1 month, I realized that I didn't breathe the outdoor air for a full month. And I was like, oh, I need to reconnect with nature. So I decided to take a weekend off and to go camping and to go like survival camping. Okay. And I was the most city boy you've ever seen.
Okay.
I've never camped before. I just wanted to reconnect with nature. So I just bought a knife, a blanket, and a set of matches, and went out in the forest. I knew nothing about camping, so I chopped down a live tree, which took me hours. I tried to set it on fire to make me a little campfire. Never worked, and I was freezing by the middle of the night. Came back home, and then that's how it started, this whole passion for the outdoors. And
Sam, what a somewhat humbling story. You didn't survive your first night.
I did not. I did not.
And obviously your outdoorsman skills have enhanced dramatically since that time.
I would like to think so.
And you live in what I understand is a beautiful mountain town in British Columbia.
Yeah, it's a little 10,000 people town in the middle of nowhere. You know, we live there. We're so close to the mountains. There's public land all over. So you just get out of the house, climb up the mountain, and you're alone in the world.
And take me back to that initial passion for how a knife serves you in a wilderness situation or any sort of challenging life situation like that.
Yeah, when you want to be in the outdoors, whether, I'm a big backcountry skier, so when you're backcountry skiing, you got to bring gear. But as with everything, gear is important, but there's so much you can bring until it's like too much gear, then it works against you. So you got to select the gear you bring, and the gear you bring, you want to trust. You want to trust it 100%. So knives, they will save your life.
I know a lot of people appreciate both the combination of utility and craftsmanship behind a product. And the way that we've kind of gotten started on my little journey here is my wonderful wife got me one of your knives as a gift. And first of all, the craftsmanship is spectacular. And I want to get into how you take a block of steel and turn it into something like this. Yes. Before I do, the first thing I did when we opened the box and Danny gave me this gift, you've done a demonstration. I've seen you on a piece of paper. and we were a little skeptical. Right through.
That is so satisfying.
Yes.
So the one thing you want to make absolutely sure when you buy a knife, whatever, if you're using a cheap steel or a fancy steel, is the heat treatment.
Okay.
Because steel has two states, or has more, but the two primary states, a soft state and a hard state. And the hard state will make it what it keeps its edge. If it can take an edge, if it can keep an edge, and then if it can be tough. Toughness means that you can change you can bend, or you can work the steel and it will bounce back to its original position. Okay. If you take a soft steel and you bend it, it will stay bent. It won't take its super straight position back. So that's one thing that's very important. And then I only work with high-end steels because I make good knives. I want good knives to have the best properties for my clients. So in the case of the Phoenix knife that we have here, which is an everyday carry utilitarian knife, I'm using S90V. I picked this steel because it has the very best properties for edge retention. It will stay sharp for a very long time.
Being extreme strength,
Yes.
but also the ability to stay sharp for a long time despite
Yes.
being used. And you brought up an interesting point. This is a fillet knife for
Correct.
fish, right?
Yes.
And doing a little bit of a demonstration. You're saying that a good steel will flex but return.
Correct. If
Whereas-
heat treated.
If heat treated properly.
Yes.
That's an
Yes.
important part of the
Yes.
process. It's not just the steel, it's the heat treatment process.
Correct.
Okay. Whereas maybe a lower quality knife like this would bend and stay bent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or just snaps.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So take us more on the Phoenix.
Yes. So the Phoenix knife is my first production run. So I wanted to bring the best quality knife and that has the highest utility for everyone to an everyday carry that you just carry in your pocket every day and use it whenever you need it, but at the lowest cost possible for everyone. So that was my first production run that I'm making 100 knives that are all serialized. Just having the shape on the handle that it fits so well in your hand, it's called a palm swell. You don't really get that necessarily out of store-bought knives, even the high-end ones. So you still have that feel. The leather sheet, it looks pretty nice, but believe me, everything is hand-stitched. All the stitching I do by hand, so it gives you the best quality.
We were talking about the handle material that you're using on this particular knife. And of course, you included a couple of different finishes,
Yes.
handle finishes. So tell us about the material and the finishes.
Yes. So out of the box, I wanted to include at least a couple of variations. So here we have the red micarta with a black liner. There's also a black micarta with a red liner. But then you can also vary the styles with, so I have access to a very rare ironwood burl. This is super rare. Just ironwood is rare because it's a super hard wood. But a burl of it, where you see all the details of that burl, that is so rare.
And let's expand on that a little.
Yes.
So in this particular wonderful gift that I received,
Yes.
I have two synthetic handle options.
Yes.
A very premium synthetic indestructible material. And then I also have a natural wood option.
Wood itself is called ironwood, so
Okay.
it's super hard.
Okay.
It does not rot. It does not absorb water because it's so dense.
So burl is that kind of like hump that you sometimes see on a tree.
Yes.
And the wood contained in there has special characteristics and
Yes.
properties. And that tree itself, the ironwood tree, also is a pretty exceptional caliber of wood.
Yes.
And you, through your resourcefulness, have been able to access
Yes, it's a very
some
rare
of this
piece of wood.
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I love about, you know, a true handcrafted product with utility, beauty, and a great story behind it.
Yeah.
And every time you pick this up, you think about that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fascinated that you take what I understand is a block of this ultra premium steel
Yes.
and you turn it into a single piece that is the body of the knife. How do you do that?
So when you think about knife making, you have this idea of someone putting steel in a forge and then taking it off and hammering with it and going bing bing, putting it in oil and it bursts into flame. That's not what I do. What I do is I get those billets of super special steel, stainless steel, that are just made for knives. And then I heat treat it. And in order to do so, you have to bring it to a very specific temperature. S90V I have to bring to 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that in an oxygen-free environment.
You heat this metal
Yes.
to 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit
Yes.
in an oxygen-free environment.
Yes.
And are you then forging or forming the knife at that point? At what point in the process are you forming the actual knife body?
So at this point, the knife is only cut out. It's
Okay.
only the outer shape of it that's made. Super hot, 2,100 degrees. I bring it to room temperature and then give it a bath in liquid nitrogen. So it goes to minus 260 degrees. That's in Celsius. So
Very cold.
Yeah, very, very cold.
Yes.
Yeah. So that heat treatment is super important because some people will, you know, they won't give it that cryogenic bath in the liquid nitrogen because that's an additional cost. You know, you need to have the specialized equipment and you need to just take the time also to do so. But what that does is that it takes all those molecules and it makes sure that the way they transform is complete. Bring it all the way to super cold with liquid nitrogen. You have the most percentage of that steel you wanted to get properties out of.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we took some time because I had heard, of course, I know a little bit of how the but I did not come close to appreciating what goes in to this type of handcrafted product. And I know when I changed the handles, Danny had asked you to put a little private engraving under there, which we appreciated, which takes me to, Sam, when Danny gave me this wonderful Phoenix knife as a gift. You know, first of all, the packaging is super premium, and so I open it. And on the inside, and we'll show you up close, but on the inside is a quote. And I'm going to take a second to read this quote. The quote is, "The Phoenix is reborn. This EDC is a reminder that no matter the decision you've made, you can be a different person than your past self." And Sam, I have to tell you, when I first saw this, I thought Danny had asked you to write this for me.
Really?
Because it hit so close to home. So, and then I asked you, so it was very compelling for me personally. And I suspect many of us, certainly at least over 40 years old or so, if not everyone, that can come very close to home.
It's meaningful, and I think that, you know, that reaches a lot of people, especially when it's an object that, you know, EDC everyday carry. This knife is meant to be following you everywhere you go. You know, your personality is also something that you always carry with you. And sometimes, you know, you'll be reminded of things you did in the past that are not necessarily you anymore. And just by having this with you is a way to bring you back that, no, like, my Phoenix knife, I'm just like that. I'm who I am now. I'm not defined by who I was before.
That is incredibly profound. Sam, you were mentioning one of your newest offerings.
Yes.
Which is a fillet knife.
Yeah, correct.
For boaters and fishermen. And it's certainly a gorgeous handle. And tell us about it, please.
Yes. So this one is very unique. It's a one-of that you'll most likely never see again. That I just wanted to make, but it's for sale, but I really wanted to make something like this. So it's an 8-inch fillet knife with a 4-inch handle, so 12 inches overall. It has a little bit flex to it, but most importantly, the steel is stainless Damascus. That's something very rare for this blade in particular. So not only the steel is unique, but I wanted to make everything unique about this handle. The main part of the handle scale here is fossilized coral. So it's between 10,000 to 40,000 years old. And the closer you look into it, the cooler it is. You can see all of those, like, it's like when you zoom into those pictures that keep going forever and forever. You see the coral, like.
So this is coral that was under the ocean 40,000+ years ago.
Yes. In the middle there, I put an inlay that's dovetailed, and it gives a 3D effect that is kind of like floating.
As you explain and display like the unique elements of craftsmanship, the materials, the sourcing of the raw materials, what a story, what a product.
And you should cut something with this.
Yeah.
It is the most satisfying thing in the world. It's like I can just shave my hair like this. It just
he's shaving. He's doing a smooth shave with that. You know, if someone were interested in buying one of your knives, they're dealing with you directly. I mean, he's the guy. He builds it. He talks to you. He helps and provides the exact product. And as you can see, takes tremendous pride in his craftsmanship of every single of his clients' knives. Well, Sam, this has been a pleasure. I really could not have begun to appreciate what goes into this and how you got to here.
Whenever you get one of my knives, I like to use steel like this one, S90V,
that is super hard to sharpen. You absolutely need diamonds to sharpen it. And it's also a convex edge, so it's pretty unconventional to sharpen. So people ask me, how do I sharpen it back? Well, it's pretty easy. I will sharpen it for free. You just need to pay for shipping costs both ways. And I have all the machinery, all the equipment, the diamond compounds to sharpen it back to hair popping sharp. But also S90B will stay sharp for a really long time, so you won't need to send it back to me very often. And that's whether you're buying a production knife like the Phoenix knife or any custom knives from me. You can always ship it back to me. I'll sharpen it back to hair popping, or if you need a tough edge, I can make a tougher edge for you and I'll send it back for free.